So on today's video, I just wanted to do a little bit of reviewing. We've got one of my favorite travel YouTubers from the United States, uh, Mark Wolters from Wolters World. At least I'm pretty sure he said his name was Mark in a few of them, and he's got 1,000 videos, something like that. And it's pretty insane. Most of them are good. I find a lot of them are pretty interesting. Before I make my own videos in the same fashion, um, I figured it'd be good to kind of give uh, one American's perspective on another American's perspective, I guess you could say. So I watched a little bit of the video, but I'm going to kind of go through it. First video, the biggest mistakes that tourists make in the United States, October 25th of 2020. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Hey fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're here at Mount Rushmore, and today we're going to talk about some of the little mistakes that tourists make when they come to the U.S. And the first mistake is getting upset when the Americans count continents a little bit differently. Here in the U.S.,
Okay, so this one I thought was extremely entertaining. So this first one is a very polite way by a very nice man of saying that Americans can be stupid. I mean, I'm from the U.S. I mean, I'm not stupid. Most of us aren't. What's going to come up with your topic of conversation? What's going to help you through life? If your life or your job doesn't revolve around knowing certain things, you're probably not going to remember. You might remember like half. We don't have to know everything, or it's not a priority. So basically, it's a polite way of saying, don't be offended if your average American doesn't know where your country's from, on what continent. We're just not gonna, yeah, we're just not gonna know it.
So now we're here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and my next mistake that I see tourists make when they come to the U.S. is thinking that no one will understand them when they talk smack in a foreign language. Look.
Okay. Thinking no one speaks anything but English. That's not that far off. I mean, we might know a little bit of Spanish. Some people know a little bit of French. Because Mexico is south of us, and Canada's English and French to the north of us. So there's some, but yeah, I'm not sure his reasoning for it, but most people only speak English. That's true. When you come here, unless you are in a group, say Chinatown. A good example is Chicago. Polish too. There's certain groups, but if you go off just to the middle of anywhere, any of the states, nobody's going to know what you're saying, outside of a few choice languages maybe they learned in school, or they're interpreters. You get lucky and you find a group. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. You should learn English or get a translation app for your phone. That's what most of us do for when we go overseas. If I go to somewhere that speak a different language, I will have a translation app on my phone to make sure I get everything right. Yeah, it's extremely rare. Um, to someone like Mr. Walters here is more well traveled. It depends on the circles you travel in. Uh, if you, I guarantee you, if I spoke any language to half the towns, half the small towns, they're not going to know. 100%. Nobody's, even basic numbers. The last time I used like Quattro, I had some lady ask me what number on the elevator I needed, what floor I needed to go to. She didn't even know basic Spanish. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It could be, but yeah, not outside maybe big cities.
Now, another mistake I see tourists make when they come is they get really upset when people ask for their ID when they buy alcohol or cigarettes. Look,
Okay, the whole ask for ID is usually store specific. If you go into, I know, like Speedway, like it's a type of gas station in the U.S. If you go to Speedway, they will ask your ID, but they're they're mandated to. They have to by policy. You can easily tell when someone is of age or if they're questionable. I still get carded. Most of it's just because of policy. I go down to my liquor store where they know me. I don't get I don't get carded every time. They they know me, but the it's basically this. I don't know if he's going to say it here in a second, but the fine for not IDing someone that's underage is high. So it's easier for management just to say, "Hey, give me your ID." Every time, just without question. Even if a 90-year-old man comes in a wheelchair, you got an ID? Sorry, we can't. It's just an insurance thing. But it's very few companies will actually mandate it. See what he
you
says?
don't. I know, and lots of places around the world, you never have to show an ID. If you look like you're older than 15, they're like, sure, you can buy that. In the U.S., that's not the way. The reason why they're so strict with it, if they get caught selling without asking for ID, or they sell to someone that's underage, they can get a really big fine.
Yeah, he goes through it. Yeah, it's all about in case. It's all about the insurance. It's easier for the manager that it's not checking you out to just say card everybody and forget about it, and we don't have to ever worry about having a fine because they will send people in um, that are underage to try to buy stuff, and they'll spot check certain places, and usually those are the places that have already been fined at least once, and it could be really expensive for your local gas station.
And people don't want to pay that fine, so it's just, hey, look, I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to get a ticket. Can I just see your ID? And the thing is, it's not just the person buying. They could ask the ID for the person with them, okay? So have your pass.
That's absolutely true. Um, Speedway, I mean, we were 22, I think. I was 21 and he was 22 at the time, and I didn't have my ID, so I asked a friend to get it for us. And even though I'm of age to drink alcohol in the United States, they wouldn't sell it to him because I didn't have my ID also. And then we just had to go to a different store. And I just didn't go in. But if you go in and you're in a group, um, it could happen. Usually those are the guys that are so afraid of doing anything wrong or power tripping a little bit. Um, yeah, especially the older generation. They have no idea what to do. So yeah, always have an ID of some kind, even if it's a Mexican ID. I had worked at a gas station one time, and I had a guy show me a Mexican driver's license. Of course, it was all in Spanish, but he was of age. I mean, I knew basic numbers. I mean, it just takes a second to look at it. See what else he says.
With you have an ID with you that shows your age, if you're going to be buying alcohol or cigarettes. Even if you look like an old fart like me, sometimes I have to show my ID still, okay? So take it as a positive. You just look really young, okay? And when you're talking to those locals, another mistake I see tourists make is they don't ask the locals for advice. Look, when you're in the U.S., we're very...
Okay, that could be a landmine field. It depends on who you're going to ask. Um, Not asking locals where to go in the United States. Some people are going to wonder why you just come up talking to them. They don't know you. It could be weird. And other times, yeah, I mean, you might get tourists from other states and other cities, but uh, this one I would tread lightly when you're just randomly talking to people because you could get some responses that you're not going to enjoy. They're going to tell you probably some expletives.
Gregarious people, we like to talk, we like to share, we like to tell you, oh, this is the greatest place to get this. We've got steaks down the road here, but if you're going to get Rocky Mountain oysters, they've got them right there at the Albany. And so you want to take in the local flavor, right? So you got to ask the locals. And the thing is, a lot of us now, we use the TripAdvisors, we use the Yelps, and we base everything we do on that, which a lot of times is good, but wouldn't you want to know from an actual local versus a lot of tourists just writing reviews? So make sure you take the time to talk to the locals. Don't make the mistake of ignoring them. Take in their advice. To talk about again is the mistake of not tipping. Look, I would say not tipping.
Oh yeah, this one I hate. The whole tipping. Um, it infuriates me to no end. Instead of just adding the price into the meal, I know he said it a few times on a few other videos, but sit down restaurants. Um, there's a few. It's mainly sit down restaurants where you have some kind of server. Reality, you're still gonna have to pay an extra 15 to 20%. I mean, if you don't, I mean, it's you're basically making somebody work for free. Um, I don't know. This one's been talked to death. The whole tipping thing should be gone. Tipping in general is complete BS as far as sit down restaurants. Just charge an extra $5 on my meal and let me just pay the bill and leave. Unless I want to give more. Yeah, I'm sick of tipping. Well, the tipping culture, I always tip about 20% because I know that's where their money comes from. I mean, I want to get paid for my work, so you got to pay them from their work.
So continuing on with our mistakes that tourists make in the U.S., we're here in Atlanta, Georgia, and my next mistake I have for tourists is they don't buy the insurance package when they buy their plane tickets.
Oh God. Yeah, I was gonna say that too. That's one of my things. Especially health insurance. If you come to the U.S. and you get hurt, oh boy, and you don't have insurance, that bill's not going to go away. It's going to basically be sold to a debt collector, and that debt collector will follow you, or they will be waiting for you here if you ever do come back. I know a few people have spoken about it, and if I went somewhere else, I would get the insurance if I go to a different country.
Look, your insurance back home may only cover your insurance back home. Make sure you have insurance for your trip, not just in case the trip gets canceled, but also for health insurance purposes, because health insurance and health issues in the U.S. are crazy expensive. You need to go to the ER, you could be out a few grand, okay? A lot of times when you buy international tickets, they'll give you the option to get extra insurance when you do that. Make sure you pick it up or talk to your insurance provider back home to see if your insurance will be working there. Another mistake I see tourists make is they don't sign up for the loyalty programs. Look, here in the US, we...
Okay, yeah, he's right on this one. So, um, a lot of stores. I mean, I just went to Walgreens, pharmacy slash store. I don't know what country you are in, but we don't just have one store that's a pharmacy. It sells everything else like a grocery store. It's more like a grocery store with a pharmacy in it. But the Walgreens has, you just sign up. You just use your phone number or somebody else's phone number or email address or whatever it is, and then you can basically save money that way. I know the Speedway does it with their card. You can save up and get free stuff. If you're going to keep going, it's pointless not to save up for the loyalty programs, like he's saying here. Um, I saved $25 the other day off something I bought. So uh, always sign up if you're going to be able to use it more than once. If you just come here, even signing up and using it once, you can still save money. So I mean, it's up to you. Okay, he had a little disclaimer. The benefits slash rewards programs, not the ones, he's not talking about the ones that are associated with certain types of credit cards. He's talking about just the free stuff they give away to help keep you coming back. It's the benefits credit cards in the United States. You're probably not going to have a United States credit card if you're coming from a different country. So it's not not even an issue, really.
Another mistake we see is people don't look for the deals or just ask about the.
Okay, yeah, that's another, could be a landmine field. Trying to find a deal in the United States is going to be on every corner of every block of every county of every city of every state, and yeah, you could run into some not so great deals. We'll see what he says, but things like pyramid schemes or free seminars, we get free stuff. You know, they've got deals for you, but yeah, you should very tread lightly in the United States.
For example, we went to the Georgia Aquarium, one of the best aquariums in the world here in Atlanta, okay? And we went there and they're like, wait, it's almost 4 o'clock. What?
Okay. He's talking about the little coupon kiosks, most likely. If you go to a tourist destination in your hotel, they're going to have a little kiosk of coupons to, you know, buy one, get one free tickets or whatever. So you can save a little bit of money, but then you kind of end up spending it on, say, like food or souvenirs instead of just going and seeing whatever it is. So they kind of pull you in with a discount, and then because you save so much, you end up spending that money on. They're going to get you one way or another. But if you can, you know, if you can find something you really want to do, like a buy one get one free coupon to a show or half off or third person or whatever, it's decent if you can save the rest of the money.
Your can of Coke might have a discount to a Six Flags or an amusement.
Hey, taking a picture of his fried bread in Montana. Fly landed on it while he was filming it, and then he probably ended up eating it. Sorry, Walter. Well, hopefully you yeah, pick that olive off and didn't eat a fly touched olive.
God, it's humid, it's horrible. Well, yes, in July and August, but not in January and not in February or December or March. Look, the mistake is people choose the wrong times to visit different places in the U.S.
That's pretty true, especially the different regions. You go to the Badlands or you go down to Florida in the summer, you go visit the coast. Yeah, the humidity, woo, it's that the humidity is what gets you. Now, you can go to the desert areas, it just depending on some places around southern Texas, you know, Nevada, in the summer, and you won't sweat. But then if you go into the summer down to Florida, say that you want to see the Everglades, bring towels, because you will be sweating buckets of water if you stay outside for, well, I'm pretty sure that's what he's going to allude to. The north is the best in the summer, and the south can be the best in the winter. Let's see what he says.
You really need to look and make sure, is that a good time to visit? So for example, Atlanta, in the summer, when it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius and a bajillion% humidity, it's not fun here. I'm not gonna lie to you. This town is awesome, but not when it's freaking 100 degrees and 100% humidity, okay? So you think about it, if you're in the southeast, hurricane season from July to November, Minnesota is a gorgeous state to visit, but do you want to go there in February when it's freezing cold and lots of snow? I mean, these are things you got to think about.
Okay, the off season. Always looking going places in the off season. Like some of the best times to go to spring break destinations is in fall break, where there's nobody there. If you want to experience what it's like being there without a million different people, especially now because of the whole COVID debacle. Yeah, you can save like half off a lot of different places if you just go in the off season when there's nobody there, or as close to it as you can. You know, you can look up weather patterns and prices and all that, and just, you know, if you're gonna go somewhere.
Come visit the U.S. is they don't pay attention to their surroundings. I know if you watch the news, it seems like.
Now this is one of the ones I wanted to bring up also. not paying attention to where you're at can be a very, very bad thing in the United States, especially if you ended up walking. I saw one video where they went to Los Angeles and a couple of girls were walking around like Compton and Watts. Now, over time, places get better, but there's certain cities and neighborhoods that you don't want to just go walking through. If you're not from there, just wearing the wrong colored shirt could put you in danger if you don't know where you're going. Every big city has a few places. South of Chicago, here in the west of Louisville, you just don't go it. You just don't go there. Or if you do, you drive through and you get out. Usually on a highway. Let's see what he says about mistake number 10.
That there's something bad happening everywhere in the U.S. all the time, and that's just not the case, okay? The U.S. in general is a very safe place to visit, and you'll have a great time, and you really won't have to worry too much. But that doesn't mean you don't need to pay attention when you're walking around cities or you're exploring national...
Yeah, okay, he's in Deadwood, South Dakota right now. Southwest Dakota. Yeah, southwest, South Dakota. Ugh, say that 3 times fast. Scams to look out for. Yeah, that's the same thing. We're going to get into that too. Most people, it is safe overall. It just depends. You need to know where you're going. You need to know what scams are in what cities, what to look out for, or you're going to end up being robbed. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Overall, it's safe. Just look up where the bad parts of town are wherever you're going and just don't go there. And your chance will drop dramatically.
Parks, you do need to be aware of your surroundings because that magic fanny pack doesn't protect you here either, okay? So make sure you're paying attention when you're going to your hotel. Ask them, hey, are there any parts of town I shouldn't be going to or I should avoid? Now, another mistake I see tourists make when they come here, and there's some restaurants behind me here which made me think of this, is don't make the mistake of not asking for a doggy bag. Look, a doggy bag is when you have the extra food.
Okay, yeah, we have containers to take away the food. I think most places have that. I think most countries have that, actually. You don't have to leave it if you want to eat it later. You can, especially if you get a big meal to share with everybody. Why wouldn't you take it home? Good advice. I mean, it kind of seems like a no-brainer, though. I mean, you think most people would already know or have that, really.
Okay? Now, another mistake I see tourists make, it's when it comes to driving. And I know in my don'ts videos and shocks video, I talk about the distances, so I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about are the little driving nuances in the U.S. that sometimes travelers don't notice or don't know. One thing you'll see is in some places, not everywhere, like in New York you can't do this, or New York City you can't do this, but turning right on a red. In a lot of places in the U.S. you actually can turn right on red.
Okay, yeah, the little quirks. I was recently in one of the cities that had that too. But you'll see the sign, like on here where it says 4th Street. You'll have the sign by the light that says no right on red. Usually it's in some of the major cities, just because they have accidents and they want to clear it up. It's just easier, like for insurance purposes.
Left lane driving. Look, if you're on the highways, if you're slower, you stay to...
Okay, yeah, that annoys some people to all end. So what you're seeing now, at least, looks like one lane. So there's one lane on each side. In 2 lanes, it would be a 2 lane on each side. And most of our highways are 2 and 3 lanes. And if you're slow driving in the left lane on the fast lane, and people have to pass you up in the slow lane that's on the right, they will get annoyed. Road rage is a thing. Just look up Ted Nugent. It's always a blast. Yeah. So, yeah, stick to the right if you're not passing, especially on the bigger highways.
Another mistake I have for you here in Jackson is don't make the mistake of believing all the stereotypes you hear about the U.S., okay? I know you think everyone in the U.S. eats a pound of bacon for breakfast and then goes shoots their gun in the afternoon. Look, that's not the case. I mean, it's not Everybody from California is a surfer dude, and everybody that's from the southeast is a redneck, and everybody from New England is so prim and proper, and the Midwesterners are all shucksy. Yes, there's a lot of these super.
Okay, well, there are stereotypes for a reason. A lot of them are true, and a lot of them are not true. Like, I'm from Kentucky. I mean, most people can tell from my accent, but I'm not a hillbilly. There's no, so there's a little bit of truth and there's a little bit of false in all of it, really. It's just keep your mind open if you go to a different country, I guess, would be be the point, really.
See another beautiful part of the U.S.
One of the big mistakes that I see people make when they come to the United States is that they just come here and they go to the big cities, New York, LA, Chicago, Atlanta, great cities.
No, this is one of mine too. Only going to say New York or LA or Chicago is a mistake, or Miami. Um, there's way more problems. You can get the same thing in smaller areas, um, if you just do the research than you can. I love small towns. The traffic's low, the prices are lower. There's still the same things that you get into a big city, but yeah, only visiting the big cities is a mistake. Like, just coming to, like, your only trip here is, say, to go to Los Angeles, um, for 1 week or whatever, and then that's it. In America, that's a mistake. The real USA is outside of all the big cities. In the smaller big cities, it's a little bit different. But yeah, I wouldn't. I only go to big cities when I get paid to go, which is frequently. But yeah, it's way more of a headache. I'm pretty sure that's kind of what they're gonna end up saying a lot more of the culture. Well, let's see what they have to say.
With a whole lot to offer you, but nearby those big cities are smaller towns, and if you're not checking those out, you're missing out on some really great programming, small town festivals, and really good Americana. For instance, not too far outside Atlanta is the Elder Mill Covered Bridge. It's in this lovely area, and we're only an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
We went to a really great farmers market yesterday that had all sorts of arts and things. So just by leaving those big cities for just a day to see some.
Okay, so yeah, you can find more unique items. Um, like you said, a farmer's market or a craft fair, getting off the beaten path and going to the looking up where, not the worst neighborhoods, but looking up the little quaint bed and breakfasts. You'll have a very different experience from, say, going downtown New York and staying in a big hotel. I mean, if that's your thing, that's all you. But um, at least where she's standing now, certain uh, covered bridges, you're gonna find a lot. The people will be calmer, nicer overall. It's just overall a better experience if you just kind of go into the little big places, I guess.
Interstate. You come here, you have to drive.
Okay, not getting off the interstate to explore. Again, you should look up where you're going before you go. Don't just. It's not a racial thing. Sometimes it is, but there are certain, even all white neighborhoods that I'm not even welcome in. If you don't live in that neighborhood, so that's probably not what they're saying. What they're saying is, it's just that explore the little towns, get lunch at random places because it'll probably shock you. Most of the places we go, they're not on main highways. They're on state highways that go through certain counties, certain cities, towns, that you could end up missing a whole lot if you don't take a good look at where everything's at, essentially. And we'll see what she has to say about it.
In America to really see it all, to get a real good flavor of what there is. But when you do that, you tend to get on the interstate and you go from point A to point B. Get off the interstate. Get off the interstate, get on a back road, get on a highway that's like kind of like a Route 66 kind of thing when you're going from Chicago to LA.
Yeah, state
and you
highway.
get to see these small towns and get a whole new flavor of the United States. You'll discover a lot of hidden beauties as you come around this great country of ours on the back roads. And as you're going from one state to the other, there are often visitor centers, especially if you're on the interstate, but sometimes on the back roads there'll be a small kiosk and stuff with all sorts of information about nearby activities, whether it's outdoor stuff.
Okay, the welcome centers are the same thing as you're going to get online. You could easily get the same thing online for the most part. This is similar to like the coupon kiosks in your hotels. The welcome centers twice as big as that usually, and they have coupons, and you can ask a old retired guy or lady, whatever. But most of the stuff's online. I mean, just look up traveling to a certain, and their visitor center is going to be virtual online anyway. A lot now you can use like QR codes. You don't have to actually stop. You can do all the work before you even get there.
And the thing is, no matter where you are in the U.S., we hope you have a great time. And these aren't mistakes or anything bad. These are just things that you can do to help enjoy your visit to the U.S. even more. So we're going to say thank you and bye from here in Georgia.
Bye, y'all.
In the United States.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so most of the stuff that I see, I agree on most of it. Stuff like different parts of the U.S., different experience. Don't try to coast thing in a week. Yeah, of course, it's you're not going to make it. You don't want to spend all your time driving if you don't have to. Left lane driving advice. I think some Americans need to learn about this as well. Yeah, no kidding. Don't ride the fast lane if people are passing you up. Just get over. Let them pass. Yeah, every now and then somebody's gonna like, yeah, I know a little bit of German. Well, yeah, I mean, you're kind of rare. Most people really don't. Bridge from the movie Lawless. Oh yeah, there's hot spots all over. Favorite country in the world. You probably live here. Yeah, the COVID's very real right now. You probably don't want to come. Well, we can't leave anyway. Don't tip at a fast food place. Well, yeah, I mean, they actually do have a decent amount of money compared to servers who have like basically no money. And the last one here, yeah, I'm over 40 and I got carded buying non-alcoholic beer. Well, yeah, ELV, whatever. Yeah, because there's alcohol in non-alcoholic beer. Just because it says non-alcoholic doesn't mean it doesn't have alcohol in it. It does, it's just not going to get you drunk. It's like 12-1 or something, but it still has alcohol in it. So that's why you got carded, because it's their policy. All right, so most of this is very good advice. One of the reasons I watch these, I mean, not to brush up, but I mean he makes it entertaining. It's very good. If I was going to travel here, I would definitely watch all of his videos on 10 things about traveling the world, about the USA. I mean, this one, you don't know what's going to come in handy. So if you prepare, you're going to have a better time overall. So I think everybody should take in as much information as they possibly can. I'm not sure how much my little additives are going to add to the conversation, but I'm going to have a few more in-depth ones to kind of bridge the gap of anything I see that they don't say that I think would actually help someone. I'm going to post it. Hopefully it helps someone. We'll see. But at least for today, I think this video is good. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.